We're going to start our notes for day 4. And so what you'll notice is that you've got these symbols. We've learned how to do intervals, and then we're also going to do some inequalities today. So when we talk about intervals, we have 2 different kinds of symbols that we use. We use this one, or we use this one. And when we use this one, remember this one is part of that like equal symbol, creates like an equal symbol. And so would we say that it's included if it's got the equal symbol or not included? What do y'all think? If it's got the equal symbol, is it going to be included or not included?
Yeah.
Yes. So included. It also means that it's equal to. Included and equal, it means the same thing. So that means that with parentheses, you're not included. You're not equal. Not included. Not equal. For included, when we have brackets, would that make a solid point or an open point? Solid. So we're going to have a solid point. And what about this one? Open. We're going to be graphing today, so we need to know, is it going to be a solid point or an open point? And then for the inequality, when you have this kind of brackets or you have a solid point, it means that your inequality, whether it's that symbol or that symbol, that it has the equal sign underneath. When you have an open circle, you just have an inequality, whether it's greater than or less than, with nothing underneath. Nothing underneath. Today what we're doing is actually solving inequalities, and it's pretty much like solving equations or equalities. There's only 2 different things that we need to keep in mind, and I know that you've actually solved these before. When you solved these before, do y'all remember what you do? Go ahead and close Chromebooks. We don't need them right now. Go ahead and close them. Pull out your earbuds. Go ahead and close them all the way. Put them all the way. I need you for 20 minutes. Does anybody happen to remember what you do when you multiply or divide by a negative? Flip the sign. Awesome. So when you multiply or divide by a negative, flip the sign. And here's just one more little thing that you have to keep in mind, because we're going to be graphing these. If you want to graph, you need to make sure that you put the variable on the left. This is a big one. You have to put it on the left before you can graph. You have to put the variable, make sure that it is on the left before you can graph. That doesn't mean that you can't solve your problem and that it might work out that the variable is on the right. It's not a big deal. We're just going to take it and we're going to flip it and put the variable on the left. So down at the bottom, it says, once we add these extra details into the solving process, the process of solving a linear inequality is the exact same process as solving a linear equation. And that process is isolate the variable or get the variable by itself. We just want to make sure our variable is on the left when we're done. And that's because we're going to graph. So again, these are our 3 examples that we're going to do. So when I look at this very first problem, what is different about this one than what you see on your paper? Something is different. What's different about this problem than what you see on the paper? I think it's the numbers. I think I changed the numbers. Is this one a 28 on your paper? It's a 26? Okay, this is supposed to be a 25. We're going to fix it. This is supposed to be a 25. So we're going to change this first one. This is supposed to be a 25. Okay, maybe I didn't change it up here. This is supposed to be a 25. Fix it, make it a 25. All right, so if I was solving this equation, remember it's exactly this, sorry, this inequality. It's the same as solving an equation, same steps. So this is a two-step equation. This is also a two-step equation. What would my first step be here? Subtract the 13. I need to get rid of plus 13, and I need to bring it over and subtract 13. If you struggle with adding and subtracting, please use a calculator. What is 25 minus 13? 12. And then what would my last step be to get x by itself? Y'all are on it. Divide by 3. What's 12 divided by 3? 4. All right, so I'm done solving, but I need to graph it. Where does the variable need to be to graph? On the left, it's not. And so all we're doing, we're not changing the problem. We're just going to take it, we're going to take the x and the 4 and we're going to switch them. And we also have to flip the sign. So I'm going to put the x on this side, the 4 on this side, and I'm going to flip the sign. It's really important that you put the variable on the left because it's going to help you graph that way. So down at the bottom, I have to graph it on this number line. The only number I care about is the number in the problem. So you don't need to scale it. You don't need to put 0 in the middle. I don't really care. I care about the number in the problem. So I'm just going to label 4 right in the middle. Is this going to be an open or a closed circle? Closed. And I'm going to put my circle just a little bit above the number line. And then the symbol, the greater than symbol, tells me the direction that my arrow is going to point. That's why we want to make sure the variable is on the left. If the variable is on the left, your arrow, because we're going to draw an arrow, it's going to point the same direction. Does everybody understand what I mean? This arrow points in the same direction as this arrowhead. It's the arrowhead. Okay. And that only works if the variable is on the left. The next question it asks is 13 part of the solution? Well, I'm not going to scale my graph, but 13 is going to be somewhere over here, right? So would it be part of the shaded part? Yes, so then it's part of your solution. Yes. So that you're going to answer that additional question on all of the back questions. For the next problem, all right, we've got this. We did solving equations last class. What do I need to do first? Distribute. So I'm going to distribute in the -3 to both pieces inside the parentheses. So I get -3 times 1, so -3x. And then -3 times 5, so -15. I didn't do anything with any of the rest of the part of the problem. Here, I have variables on both sides. I have constants on both sides. Last class, when we solved equations, or equal to, I said that let's move towards the bigger one. So if we looked and we saw, oh, I have a -3 and I have a 5, I'm going to move towards the bigger one. But if I do that, then I'm going to be stuck with my variable on the right, and I'm going to have to fix it in the end. So this is the only exception to that rule. Most of this class, you're solving equations, things that are equal. So you can follow that rule, always move towards the bigger one, except for if you want to save yourself a step at the end for solving inequalities. If you just keep the variable on the left, then you don't have to fix it in the end. So I'm going to leave the x's on this side, which means that I'm going to bring over this 5x. The inverse of having a positive 5x is having a negative 5x. And then I told you all in the same step, you're allowed to move the constants to the other side. So the opposite or the inverse of subtracting 15 would be to add 15 to the other side. So on the left, we have -3. We're getting more negative, and so we get -8. Don't lose the x. The symbol didn't change. And then I have 1 plus 15, and that makes 16. What would my last step be to get the x all by itself? We're going to divide. We are dividing by -8. So this is a special case that we have to make sure that you flip the sign. And you flip the sign because that's negative. So I end up with x and I flip the sign. What's 16 divided by -8? -2. Is my variable on the left? Yes, I can box my answer. All right, the only number that I care about down on my number line, what is it? -2. So I'm going to go plot -2. Am I going to have an open or closed circle? Open. And then which direction is my arrow going to point? To the left. Make sure that you put an arrow on the end of your, make sure you put an arrow on the end over here. So 0, I'm going to go plot where 0 lives. So if this is -2, then I would have -1 and then 0. 0 is going to live over here. So is that part of my solution? No. For our last problem of the day, so this problem, it doesn't have a 13. So scribble out the little 1. It's going to be a 3. Sorry. It's not going to change how we're going to solve the problem. What's going to be my first step to get the W by itself? Yeah, let's get rid of this positive 17, subtract 17. So I have -3W is greater than, what's 35 minus 17? What? 35 minus 17.
Yeah. 17. But 12.
Yeah, I was thinking that doesn't feel right.
18.
18. All right, that feels better. So my last step is what? Divide by -3. So since I'm dividing by -3, this is another case where that is negative. So you've got to flip the sign. So I'm going to have W and I flip the sign. What's 18 divided by -3? -6 is the variable on the left. Leave it and we are ready to graph. What's the only number I care about on the number line? -6. Open or close circle? Open. What direction is it going to point? To the left. Make sure you put an arrow on the end. I will take off if you do not put this arrow. No, I don't care. I just need to see that you have an arrow. -6. Well, that is what's listed. Is that part of the solution? Is it included in the solution? No. Why? Because it's open. It means technically there's a hole there. So this is a case where it is no. Okay, it has to be a solid circle for it to be included. We're done. So all I need to see is that you show me work on every single problem and we're going to be good. That's it for today.